Have you seen Waffle Flower's previous postage stamp release? It includes stamp dies and stencils to create beautiful postage stamps on your card front. Well, now they also have Slimline and Mini Slimline sets of their postage stamp release. I'm working with Mini Slimline today, so let me show you the supplies that I'll be using to create my postage stamp card fronts. First up, I'll be using the Postage Collage Mini Slimline die. It cuts out this perfect little collage of postage stamps. There are also some postage stamp dies that are included, a square, a rectangle, and other shapes. This is the Postage Collage Mini Slimline Blocks Stencil, so you can stencil in different colors to that die. This is the Winter View stamp set. This is also new, and it's a cute little stamp set that will work with your postage collage stamps. This is the Winter View Elements dies. This also has houses, little deer, little pine trees, things that you can add to those stamps to make them look super cute for winter. This is the Mini Slimline Lacy Layers die. You get little scalloped and rectangle dies, and this is the Mini Slimline Stitched Rectangles die. And so those add some little elements to your rectangles in the Mini Slimline size. From a previous release, I have the Postage Collage stamp set. Has some great elements to it for any type of postage collage, and I also have the Postage Collage Everyday Stencil. This is technically for an A2 size card, but you can use it on your Mini Slimline as well. Now let's use those supplies to make some really fun cards. First, I'll start with the Postage Collage die in the Mini Slimline size, and I have it on my 8.5 by 8.5 Waffle Flower grit mat. This way I can place the block stencil right over top, and you can see it sticks on the edges to the grit mat, which holds it in place. It also holds the cardstock in place. Nothing is moving, which means that I get a great ability to blend over that stencil with blending brushes or whatever you're using and not have anything slide around or slip underneath the stencil. So I am using Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide ink and now some shaded lilac. And you'll see I'm going right through the center of that Mini Slimline with the shaded lilac. I'm creating a 3-color blend on this background. For the third color, I'll use Distress Oxide Blueprint Sketch, and then I need to go over the colors again to smooth out the lines and make it a nice smooth blend where you don't see a bunch of lines. I love how crisp that looks because of the grit mat. Now I'll use that Winter View stamp set and some VersaFine ink. The reason I'm using VersaFine here is it's a pigment ink. It will sit on top of the Distress Oxide ink. Sometimes with Distress Oxide, stamping in dye inks on top is not so easy and it won't really show up as well. So this pigment ink shows up beautifully. Look at that crisp black color there. Then I'll take some of the postage stamps from that first Postage Collage die and I'll use some stamps on top. Some I'm using from the Winter View set, some I'm using from that previous release with the Postage Collage stamps, the everyday stamps. And I'll use the Winter View dies, and I'm cutting those out of white cardstock and not coloring them in. So I have a black and white theme for everything that's above that ink blend, which is a really easy way to do things because you don't have to worry about coloring in tiny little die cuts. And I think it looks really nice on that blended background. Thanks So Much is my sentiment that comes from that Winter View stamp set. For the little houses, I wanted the windows to glow. So I have this lacquer pen from Hero Arts, and I am slowly trying to squeeze out the tiniest amount so it just sits within the windows. And there are moments where I did squeeze out a little bit too much, so you can always scoop out some with a toothpick or a fine pin or something like that. I have some tape runner here, and I've used the stitched rectangles to create a background for my postage collage. I love how fun it is to design these different postage stamps and how they all come together for a collage. Here's one of the Lacy Layers mini Slimlines, and you can see how it fits perfectly still with that block stencil for the mini Slimline. And so instead of using the postage collage die this time, I'm just going to use the Lacy Layers background and then the stencil. Only for this stencil, I'm coloring it all in with Kitsch Flamingo. So it's all one color, and that's why I use that larger blending brush from Waffle Flower to color it in. Again, nice crisp lines on the outside because of the grip mat. So I'll place this in my mini Misti so that I can stamp a sentiment that says winter days are better with friends like you. It's from the Winter View stamp set. And I stamped it right in between some of the blocks. That's the nice thing about using the Lacy Layers, is that there's no cut there, whereas with the postage collage die there is that cute little cut that makes it look like these are all individual stamps. Now I'm using that previous release of the stencil. This is the everyday stencil for the postage collage release. It is a layering stencil. Now, of course, it's made to go on a different size card, but you can see how I'm easily lining it up so that I can create the layers. Of course, it's larger than the mini Slimline, so it stays stuck to the grid mat. And now I can use that originally released postage collage stamp set to create some other stamps and little elements on the stamps. I love how they have the monetary amount for the stamps, and they have things that go inside circles perfectly, inside squares perfectly, inside rectangles perfectly. And then again, these little houses, I thought that goes with winter days are better with friends like you. So this is placed on a larger rectangle. Those Lacy Layers come with both rectangles and scalloped rectangles, so you can layer them up and create really fun looking cards. For this card, I am using a stitched rectangle as the background. I have the block stencil, and I want each square to be a different color. So you can see how even though I'm using the grip mat, I'm also using some washi tape to mask off certain areas because I know I'm a messy ink blender and I can't stay within a square. Even when I use a shader brush like that, I'm sure to get some in the other square that I don't want. So I've masked things off so that I keep my ink blending within each square, and I'll do a rainbow of Distress Oxide colors. I have Kitsch Flamingo, Saltwater Taffy, Squeezed Lemonade, Cracked Pistachio, and Salvaged Patina. I realized I accidentally masked off that last rectangle, so I needed to pull off the washi tape and finish up that yellow on the side there. And I love the idea of creating a rainbow of different postage stamps. That is so much fun on that white background. I'll use some of the previous release of that everyday stencil and that postage collage stamp set, but I'm also using some of the postage stamps that I cut out from the original postage collage mini Slimline die. And then again, adding some of those little monetary details from the previous released postage collage stamp set. It's a good one to have if you're going to be doing any of these postage collage stamps, because it has all those little elements that you can really use on any themed card. And I did get a little bit of ink by smearing it with my hand. I do this all the time. And so I'm using a sand eraser just to scrub off any of that excess ink that I didn't mean to get there. Now I'm using the frame, which is the largest part of the stitched rectangles die, and I'm popping it up on a thin strip of foam tape. I'm creating a shadow box here, not a shaker card, so I won't have an acetate window, but I did want to set in the postage collage and have this frame be set up above. So just a thin strip all around on that frame. Then I can place some tape runner on the back of my stitched rectangle that has the postage collage on top, and then just place it inside. I didn't get it quite straight to begin with, so I had to pull it up a little bit, but if you just go slowly, you can get it nice and straight inside that frame and create a really pretty looking shadow box that adds just a different element and touch to the card. I don't know about you, but I just love the look of these postage stamps as a card front. They just are so unique and so much fun to create. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. I think I may have to start over because I have no idea what I've already said. Like, not a clue.